Most people assume change leadership is simply telling people what to do when going through a transformation. But the reality is, a real change leader doesn't just lead execution of a plan. They ignite possibility. They make people feel safe enough to grow through the change they're executing. So in this video, I'm breaking down exactly what change leadership is and how to recognize it when you see it. Let's get it. Okay, let's just get something straight. Leading through change is not the same thing as being a change leader. Change leadership is not a role, it's an identity. And honestly, you can do it from wherever you sit. Because true change leaders are looking for ways to inspire and to nurture people moving forward through the change. They're incredibly curious, they're incredibly intentional, and always putting humans first. Especially in our now AI-powered world. I can't tell you how many individuals I've worked with who've been assigned to be a change leader that act very reactive in the role that's given, right? They're updating slide decks. When something happens, there's a hiccup in the change. They're just really reactive to it. Okay, how do I communicate this to executive team? What do I need to do next? I think true change leadership, if you take it on as an identity, is incredibly proactive. And again, it's that curiosity. How can we make this a little bit better? How can what just happened, this hiccup, how can we learn from this so that we can sidestep others in the future? So with that said, I actually want to share with you a framework that I've created to help you in your change leadership identity. And I call it CARE. C-A-R-E. Now, this is not the only framework that's been called CARE, but just know this is Cassandra's. This is what I have created to help anchor and understand what true change leadership is, okay? C-A-R-E. The C means curious. I've already alluded to it. True change leaders stay curious about how their team is moving through the change. They stay curious about themselves as well. You know, it's funny, as a part of the research that we do around the world, we ask the question to understand what percentage of employees, of workers, feel resistant to change. They identify as being self-resistant. For example, in the United States, 41% of employees will identify as being self-resistant. There's another question, which is, how many believe that their coworkers or people that they work with are resistant to change? We've done this research in 9 countries around the world. Consistently, that is a higher percentage because we feel it's not me, it's them. And that goes especially for change leaders, right? I'm in this role, of course. I'm the most agile. I am the least resistant individual that there is. But I guarantee you, if I were to ask your team or the people that you're leading through a change initiative, if they thought you were resistant, there might be a couple hands that raise. And so it's about staying curious within yourself as well. I know what my intentions are, but am I having that impact? Am I showing up the type of leader that I know that I can be in leading this transformation? And then staying curious about those around you as well. How can you better support? How can you better serve? What have we been learning as we move forward? How are we applying those learnings? Curiosity. The A is authenticity. Don't sugarcoat when there is discomfort. Don't avoid when you can sense that there's angst, when there's frustration, when there's fear happening amongst the teams. Acknowledge that and allow the authentic perspective of your people to flow. And ask those questions. You know, how are you feeling moving through this? What do you think the risks are that we are engaged upon? What am I missing as we move forward, right? Invite that authentic perspective from your team because there's brilliance on that team and they can help you as you move forward. The R is resonance, and this one might be a little bit counterintuitive, but it's something that's natural to us as human beings, and this is about feeling what the team feels. Right? I think so often when we are placed in roles that we're responsible for a team, responsible for people, we're managers, we feel like we can't express or show the more difficult emotions. We have to be the cheerleaders. We have to be rah-rah. We have to be positive all the time. If the team's feeling down, I got to feel the opposite. I have to bring something. Feel what the team feels. Know, let them know you were there with them. Right? You're right there with them. And probably 9 times out of 10, if they're feeling frustrated, you're probably feeling 10 times as frustrated. So allow that, express that, feel what the team feels. Let them acknowledge their feelings and you share yours as well. So that resonance is so important because when you're resonating with your team, it's so much easier to lead and guide them where you want them to go. And you're showing your humanity after all. The E stands for energy stewardship, and it doesn't fly in the face of what I just talked about with resonance, but this is really about taking responsibility to help set the tone of the energy in the team. So yes, meet them where they are. Yes, ask the question, create that normalization of sharing emotions, but you be the one to help identify where these emotions are leading and guiding, what opportunity exists for the team so that you can then start moving them forward, right? You still have the responsibility to set that energetic tone, but this is not about being performative. It's not about performative positivity. It's about sitting with the team, especially when times are hard, identifying if we're feeling this way, we're feeling this drain, we got some kind of opportunity. Something is here for us, right? Either we need to take a beat, either we need to pivot, make some changes so that we can move forward. Right? So again, you were the steward of the energy in the room and amongst the team. And I'll tell you, if you don't take this role, somebody else will. Somebody else will. The person who is sharing kind of the biggest energy, the biggest emotions, that's what people are going to gravitate towards. Because when it comes down to it, we're really energetic beings, right? And I'm sure you've known that person that has so much negativity. They bring so much negativity in the room, and they can start getting people to come with them. They can start getting people to want to spiral and want to vent, right? And it can become this chaos that gets created. So you be the energetic steward in the room. Right? Recognize what the tone is and how you can shift it to move it forward without putting on a performance. So now let's talk about how to spot a change leader out in the wild, out in your organization, out amongst your team, because there are little ways that you can determine who really is already embracing this identity and who would be the best to assign to lead a future change. So the first way to spot them is it's that individual that can acknowledge when emotions are being stirred within them, when a plan changes, what those emotions are, and they actually express them. So they're actually the individuals that bring emotional language, emotional fluency into the room. And they have that recognition, that emotional self-awareness. That will make an exceptional change leader. It's those individuals that invite disagreement, that invite dissenting views without having an argument, without things going off track or off task. They want to hear who might dissent to the plan that they want to execute because they can see when you have those dissenting voices, when you have some level of disagreement, you usually end up in a better place. They're the individuals that celebrate the micro wins or those inch stones. When they see a little level of success within a partner, within a team that they're working in, they're the first to want to celebrate it. Pay that gratitude, pay that appreciation. Hey, let's go out to lunch. We had a really successful meeting, yesterday. Let's celebrate that. These exceptional change leaders. And finally, they have the ability to turn fear into productive, positive movement. If you find somebody like this, know that they will make an exceptional change leader. They can recognize when fear's in the room. They get very curious about what is that fear pointing to, what's driving that fear, and then they can use that to create momentum towards a goal that they have. And also know that a change leader isn't loud necessarily. They're very anchored, and they have the power to turn a lot of uncertainty into momentum. And now the good part, something for free. Below you're going to find a link to a free chapter of my best-selling book, Change Enthusiasm, How to Harness the Power of Emotion for Leadership and Success. This is going to help you understand the mindset, give you an introduction, give you some tactics, some tips, some tools. Download it right now because I'm not asking you to pay me or anyone else. It's free. Until we meet again, keep growing, keep feeling, keep inviting others to feel, and keep rocking.